If you're tired of the same predictable horror movies and want something darker, more disturbing, and way more savage, you're in for a nightmare. Let's dive into 10 terrifying hidden horror gems you've probably never seen but won't forget anytime soon. Number 20, The Cleaning Lady.
You need to end this.
Seeking a way out of a toxic relationship, Alice turns to an unassuming cleaning woman for companionship, unaware of the scars, both physical and hidden, that shape her new friend's quiet demeanor. As their bond deepens, the lines between kindness and obsession begin to blur, the air growing heavier with each shared secret. Behind the soft clatter of dishes and the hum of vacuum cleaners lies a silence that feels predatory, a stillness that watches and waits. The apartment becomes a trap of ritual and routine, the walls steeped in something unspoken, something dangerous. Director John Knautz weaves a tale of slow, creeping dread where intimacy curdles into control, and the simplest acts of trust open the door to a nightmare you never saw coming. Number 19, The Burrowers.
Why would they bury her alive? I don't know.
A ragtag rescue party, military men, a pensive Irish immigrant, a weary ex-soldier, a freedman, and a teenage boy, rides out into the desolate 1879 Dakota Territory after an entire family vanishes overnight, leaving only half-buried corpses and ominous holes in the earth. With each step deeper into the frontier, they discover they are not hunting humans but creatures that burrow from below, starving subterranean monsters born of vanishing ecosystems. The creatures poison, paralyze, and bury their victims alive, feasting only after decomposition begins. The Burrowers is a tense, unnerving slow burn of Western dread that crawls under your skin with its primal terror. Number 18, Viral.
Help!
What happened?
I don't know.
Go get the nurse.
When a mysterious parasitic outbreak sweeps across the globe, two sisters find themselves trapped in their quiet suburban home, cut off from the outside world as chaos spreads like wildfire. The streets fall silent except for distant sirens and the occasional inhuman scream carried on the wind. As the infection closes in, the walls of their home become both refuge and prison, each passing hour tightening the noose of fear. Trust becomes fragile, and survival demands choices neither is ready to make. Viral drips with claustrophobic tension, blending intimate family drama with the cold dread of watching the world end one neighbor at a time. Number 17, Dead and Breakfast.
I was working as a station attendant when a couple pretty girls.
What are they doing?
Well, they're dancing.
6 friends, Christian, David, Kate, Johnny, Sarah, and Melody, set out in their RV toward a wedding in Galveston but take a wrong turn and wind up in the eerie town of Lovelock. Lured by a quirky bed and breakfast run by the unsettling Mr. Wise, their night quickly turns nightmarish when the chef is found gruesomely murdered and the innkeeper dies of a sudden heart attack. Stranded by a suspicious sheriff, they soon learn that an ancient wooden box once belonging to Mr. Wise holds a demonic force known as the Kuman Thong. When Johnny accidentally opens it, the malevolent spirit seizes control, turning townsfolk into murderous redneck zombies that dance and unleash carnage and song-soaked terror. A delirious, gore-drenched horror comedy that blends slapstick with undead chaos. Number 16, Daddy's Little Girl.
Baby, how much you love Daddy?
Daddy, you know how much.
She was 6. For every year she was alive.
In a quiet coastal town, a devoted father's world shatters when an unimaginable act of cruelty is inflicted on his young daughter. Grief turns to a burning obsession for justice, and justice soon bleeds into vengeance. The beaches and boardwalks that once held laughter now feel like hunting grounds, the ocean breeze carrying the weight of something dark and inevitable. As he closes in on those responsible, the line between righteousness and savagery fades, replaced by a relentless need to make them feel every ounce of his pain. The film is a stark and unsettling tale that peers into the raw heart of loss, and the dangerous places it can lead when the need for retribution eclipses all else. Number 15, Leviathan.
Six-pack, answer. Don't go in there. Don't touch anything.
An experienced geologist and his motley crew of undersea mining specialists descend into the crushing depths under the command of a corporate executive, only to excavate a submerged Soviet wreck named Leviathan. Inside lies a sealed safe, a cryptic video log, and a flask of vodka that spreads a mutagenic curse among the crew. One by one, Afflicted members undergo grotesque transformations, while isolation tightens its grip and an unseen horror slithers through the sealed habitat. Pressurized corridors become hunting grounds as the mutated abomination stalks those still sane in a desperate fight for survival. A claustrophobic, visceral horror voyage that marries deep-sea dread with body horror's most primal instincts. Number 14, She Creature.
I love you so much.
I love you too.
At the dawn of the 20th century, two carnival performers seize the opportunity of a lifetime when they capture a living mermaid. An ancient, beautiful, and dangerous being unlike any myth ever told. They set sail across treacherous waters, believing they are bound for fortune, but the ocean has other plans. As the voyage progresses, the ship becomes a drifting coffin. The crew stalked by whispers in the waves and shadows beneath the surface. Every creak of the wood, every sudden shift of the tide feels like the prelude to something monstrous rising from the depths. She Creature lures viewers into a dark, maritime nightmare, where the allure of the unknown hides a hunger older and far more deadly than man could imagine. Number 13, Cub. 12-year-old Sam, an introverted and bullied Cub Scout, joins his troop for a summer camping trip deep in the Belgian woods. As the scouts wander deeper, their leaders spin the chilling legend of Kai, a werewolf-like feral boy rumored to dwell in the forest. When Sam catches a glimpse of a masked youth lurking among the trees, he becomes convinced the legend is alive, only to be dismissed by his pack and leaders. Meanwhile, a merciless poacher and his feral son have rigged the forest with deadly traps, preying on intruders with quiet, calculated malice. The thin line between imagination and nightmare blurs under the moonlit canopy, until survival becomes a savage, blood-soaked test of wits and terror, a relentlessly tense and gruesome slasher that transforms campfire tales into grisly reality. Number 12, Hellcat. When Lena awakens in the back of a moving trailer, wounded and disoriented, she's told she has only 1 hour to reach a doctor before her injuries become fatal. What begins as a desperate fight for survival quickly spirals into a claustrophobic nightmare where every mile blurs the line between truth and deception. Her only connection to the outside world is Clive, a man whose voice over the intercom shifts between soothing reassurance and something far more sinister. The hum of the road becomes a constant, oppressive heartbeat, the walls closing in as paranoia seeps into every breath. Hellcat is an intense chamber piece of shifting power and hidden agendas, trapping its audience in the same suffocating uncertainty that grips its heroine until the final moment. Number 11, Linkeroever.
Is an unimaginable secret. Now.
Marie, a driven young athlete, is cruelly grounded by a mysterious illness just as she's on the cusp of greatness, forcing her to rest and reevaluate everything. Seeking solace, she moves into the luxurious Antwerp apartment of her enigmatic new boyfriend, Bobby. But tranquility turns toxic when she uncovers that the previous tenant vanished without a trace, and her own body begins to betray her. Headaches, unsettling powders, stubborn wounds, and creepy hallucinations plague her every waking moment. As the apartment's past and Bobby's true nature emerge, Marie realizes she has been lured into something far darker, a ritualistic pagan nightmare lurking beneath chic surfaces. A beautifully haunting folk horror that seeps into your bones long after the credits roll. Here are 4 other movies you have to see. Glorious.
Feeling to tear you up inside, pure and raw. That's what I need from you.
What did you do, Wes?
After a brutal breakup, a man finds himself trapped in a rest stop bathroom, where a disembodied voice from the next stall claims to be an ancient cosmic being. The voice demands a terrible favor, one that could alter the universe itself. A surreal, Lovecraftian horror set in the most unlikely of places. Possum. A disgraced puppeteer returns to his bleak childhood home, carrying a disturbing marionette that seems to hold a life of its own. As he confronts buried trauma, reality twists into nightmarish visions that stalk him in the shadows. Willow Creek. A couple ventures into Bigfoot country to shoot a documentary but ends up stalked by something unseen in the woods. What begins as a lighthearted exploration becomes a slow-building nightmare of primal fear. A found-footage horror that thrives on suggestion and silence. Grafted.
We could make people beautiful.
Go home!
Everyone is going to love me.
After a botched organ transplant, a young woman begins experiencing unsettling changes, both in her body and in her perception of the world. Her search for answers leads her into a hidden network of black market medicine and ancient experimental science. Every revelation pushes her closer to a horrifying truth about the life now growing inside her. Number 10, Deep Rising.
Feeling about this?
The ship's infested! Let's get the hell out of here!
A hardened captain and his small crew are hired by a ruthless band of mercenaries to navigate the treacherous South China Sea toward an unspecified rendezvous. Nearby, the majestic cruise ship Argonautica sails on its maiden voyage, until it's violently disabled from below by an unseen force, stranding passengers in a silent sea of carnage. As the mercenaries board, hoping to plunder its vault, they discover that something monstrous lurks in the flooded corridors, tentacles of a colossal abyssal creature that drain bodies and shred flesh with merciless precision. Trapped in steel corridors, the survivors must confront a relentless, unknowable horror that dissolves any illusion of escape. A pulse-pounding blend of creature-feature chaos and claustrophobic action, drenched in madness and soaked in terror. Number 9, The Undertone.
She's listening. I have to warn her.
A paranormal podcast host returns home to care for her dying mother. But what begins as an act of love slowly unravels into a descent through sound and shadow. While continuing her show remotely with an unseen co-host, she receives a series of unmarked audio files, recordings that start as harmless background noise before mutating into whispers, warped nursery rhymes, and voices that seem to know her name. The house begins to breathe with the menace in those sounds, every creak in the floorboards and hum in the walls taking on a new sinister weight. Isolation tightens around her like a noose, and the line between her show's fiction and her own reality blurs. The film transforms silence into a weapon, crafting one of the year's most unnerving experiences by preying on what you can hear but will never see. Number 8, Wyrmwood.
Ready? Born ready.
Barry, a resourceful mechanic, finds his everyday life shattered when a meteor shower unleashes a zombie plague across the Australian outback. Racing to alert his city-dwelling sister Brooke, he arrives too late and must face the haunting choice between love and survival. Armed with little more than his tools and instinct, Barry teams up with a ragtag survivor, Benny, and discovers a shocking truth. Zombie breath and blood are explosive, fuel in a world running dry. As they fight through swarms of undead and masked soldiers, Brooke emerges with uncanny powers that blur the line between humanity and nightmare, a wild, inventive mashup of splatter horror and Mad Max-style road terror. Number 7, Deathgasm.
Ricky Daggers. Is he dead? Wouldn't it be crazy if...
In a sleepy New Zealand town, two misfit metalheads stumble upon ancient sheet music that promises power and delivers something far more dangerous. When they play it, the chords unleash a demonic force that seeps into every corner of their once quiet streets, twisting neighbors into grotesque, blood-hungry monsters. The suburban calm shatters under the roar of chainsaws, the crash of guitars, and the relentless pounding of drums that now serve as a battle cry for survival. Every laugh is undercut by gore, every moment of camaraderie shadowed by the possibility of possession. The film is a headbanging, blood-splattered descent into chaos that proves metal isn't just music, it's a gateway, and some doors should never be opened. Number 6, Red, White, and Blue.
No, somebody!
Where's Erica?
Erica, emotionally detached and haunted by a tragic past, drifts through bars in Austin, picking up strangers in a cold, calculated search for connection. Nate, an enigmatic neighbor with military shadows lurking beneath a protective facade, offers her a fragile sense of belonging, until their fragile bond unravels into bloodied vengeance. When Erica's destructive impulses spark a cycle of psychological torment and violent retribution, loyalties fracture, and survival becomes a desperate, visceral exchange of power. The film's unsettling descent into obsession and moral decay clings to you with unrelenting intensity. A deeply disturbing character study wrapped in raw, relentless horror. Number 5, The Skeleton Key.
Can't expect me to believe that you see ghosts in your mirrors.
In the sweltering heat of rural Louisiana, a hospice nurse takes a live-in job at a crumbling plantation house, caring for an elderly man whose silence hides more than illness. The creak of floorboards, the heavy scent of old wood, and the constant hum of the swamp create a suffocating atmosphere where every locked door feels like a warning. When she's given a skeleton key granting access to every room, her curiosity pulls her deeper into the home's shadowed history and the strange rituals whispered about in the bayou. The deeper she searches, the more reality bends until the line between superstition and truth blurs into something terrifying. Number 4, Color Out of Space. The Gardner family, Nathan, his wife, and their children, relocate to a rural New England farm hoping for a fresh start, until a phosphorescent meteorite crashes into their front yard, infecting the earth and seeping into well water with an alien glow. As crops sprout with unnatural hues and the land itself shimmers with unseen menace, the family drifts into fevered hallucinations and flesh-scorching madness. Time warps, nature contorts, and love fractures alongside reality itself. What begins as pastoral serenity morphs into a kaleidoscopic nightmare that warps mind, body, and blood. A psychedelic cosmic horror that fuses Lovecraftian dread with schizophrenic visuals. Number 3, Coldfish. In the neon-lit streets of Japan, a mild-mannered tropical fish shop owner finds his quiet life entangled with a charismatic rival whose charm masks something deeply malevolent. Drawn into his orbit, the man's world begins to unravel, each encounter pulling him further into a web of manipulation, greed, and unspeakable acts. The tanks of shimmering fish become silent witnesses to mounting dread, their still waters reflecting the cold detachment of those capable of true horror. Every polite smile hides an edge, every handshake grips a little too tightly, and the tension coils until escape feels impossible. Coldfish blends slow-burn psychological terror with sudden, shocking violence, creating a portrait of corruption that seeps into the soul like poison. Number 2, Mimic. When a virulent outbreak among children strikes New York City, an entomologist named Dr. Susan Tyler engineers a hybrid insect, part mantis, part termite, designed to eradicate the disease-carrying cockroaches with lethal efficiency. At first, the Judas bugs seem to work perfectly. But years later, the infestation returns with a horrifying twist. The creatures have evolved beyond expectation, growing monstrous, intelligent, and capable of mimicking humans themselves. As they emerge from the dark tunnels and shadowy platforms of the subway, survival becomes a game of paranoia and instinct, as every pennyboard car and steam-hazed corridor hides a predator that could be anyone or anything. A claustrophobic, insect-infested nightmare that turns our fear of the unseen into something monstrously tangible. Number 1, Dog Soldiers. Deep in the remote Scottish Highlands, a routine military training exercise turns into a desperate fight for survival when a squad of soldiers encounters something far more savage than any enemy they've faced before. Cut off from reinforcements, they take refuge in a lonely farmhouse, its darkened rooms and creaking walls offering little comfort against the howls that echo through the night. Every shadow outside hides movement, every crash against the door threatens to break it down, and the air grows thick with the scent of blood and fear. As the siege tightens, loyalty and courage are tested to their breaking point. Directed by Neil Marshall, Dog Soldiers is a relentless, teeth-bared nightmare that traps its characters and its audience between human grit and a primal, unstoppable force. Here are 4 other movies you have to see. The Last Winter.
Why wouldn't the wilderness fight us? Like any organism would fend off a virus.
In the icy wilderness of the Arctic, an oil team faces mounting paranoia and eerie phenomena as they push deeper into untouched land. Something ancient and vengeful may be awakening in response to human disruption. A chilling blend of environmental horror and psychological unraveling. Dead Male.
There was someone else in that room.
When a reclusive mail carrier stumbles upon a series of undelivered letters tied to a decades-old disappearance, he is drawn into a dangerous investigation. The deeper he digs, the more he uncovers about a hidden darkness in his seemingly quiet town. His obsession soon blurs the line between uncovering the truth and becoming lost in it. Exeter.
The power of Christ compels you!
Teenagers partying inside an abandoned asylum unknowingly perform a ritual that awakens a demonic force. As possession spreads, escape becomes impossible and secrets surface. A fast-paced possession shocker drenched in chaos and gore. Ginger snaps.
Oh my god. You think I want to go back to being nobody?
In a sleepy Canadian suburb, two morbidly fascinated teenage sisters face a terrifying transformation after a brutal animal attack. As one of them changes in ways that defy nature, their once unbreakable bond is tested by fear, desire, and bloodlue.